In this video, we will look at how to use the updates to the goals feature. These updates allow for more flexibility in setting your goals, as well as new reports for viewing and tracking your progress. First, we will look at how to use the old goal features in the new goal system. So if we look at the old goal system, I'll switch to a different account here. Click create new goal. There are two ways of setting a goal. Sales for all locations, which allow you to set one goal for the sum total of sales across all locations, and sales by location, which allowed you to set one goal for each location and then automatically created a sum total goal at the bottom. So in the new goal system, switch back to the other account now. Here, I'll click create new goal. There is now a drop down called dimension. This allows you to set a single goal or an array of goals across various location or date values. The equivalent to sales for all locations in the old goal system is the single goal option. We can hit check all to select all locations. Additionally, we can now unselect locations individually, and if we want, we'll go ahead and remove warehouse, and we'll give this a title here. And we'll create a goal for the month of October. These date inputs look a little different, but they function basically the same way. So October to October. And create the goal. And we'll create a second goal. The equivalent to sales by location is this by location option here. We'll select the locations and uncheck warehouse and give it a title. And we'll make this a 3-month goal, September to November. And now we have an array of values to input, one for each location. On this page, we now have 3 reports. The report from the old goal system is this old report here. This shows as before. The only difference is that previously, if the business day schedule was not set for all locations in the date range, any columns that depended on the business day schedule were just left blank. So it'd be like this column and these columns as well were just left blank. Now, if you don't set the business day schedule, it will assume that you're open every day and fill in the columns accordingly. So we haven't set the business day schedule for Rossville, so it's assuming we're open all 91 days in September, October, November. So we can go ahead and set the business day schedule here. Go ahead and give it a quick schedule. And if we come back here, we see that it no longer assumes that we're open every day. So that was how to use, continue using the old goal features if you want to do that, but now we'll look at the new features. These include 2 new reports. This main report is mostly the same as the old report, but it has more flexibility in viewing options and is more useful in showing goals by date, which I'll explain later on. If we click make report, we see the same goal data. If the goal date range covers the present day, we have the option to view goal to date and variance to date like that. And we can also make a selection of which locations to view in the report like that. Do that. And this all locations row sums only the locations that we have selected. So we see that this is the goal here is the sum of downtown east side. If we put back in Rossville, now the sum increase and it's downtown east side and Rossville. And if we're viewing just one location, the all location row disappears entirely. The other new report is this daily progress report. This allows you to see how your cumulative sales compare to your cumulative goal amount for each day. Click make report. So whether the report is yearly, monthly, or daily, this report will divide the total goal amount by the number of days in the goal date range. This cumulative goal amount column will then increment by that amount each day until at the bottom it reaches the total goal amount. So in this case, the total goal amount is 60,000. There are 91 days in this date range, so it starts at 60,000 over 91, and then keeps increasing by that amount each day to tell you what your cumulative goal amount is for each day. Then you can see whether your daily progress is keeping track with the goal in the cumulative sales column. There's a variance column over here to tell you whether you are falling behind or getting ahead of your goal. And there's also a daily sales that just shows the sales just for that day. So this value is the number that's added from this row to the next. So since we're not open every day, it would probably be more meaningful to divide the total goal column just by business days, since normally we wouldn't expect to make any progress on sales when we're not open. So we can select this divide goal by business days only option. This gives us basically the same view as before, but days on which we're not open are just left blank. Additionally, since we're now dividing only by the number of days we are open and not the total number of days in the month, the daily goal amount will be larger. So we're taking this 60,000 here and dividing it by a smaller number. So this first number here is larger, and the cumulative goal amount column increases faster to reach the same end goal in fewer days. If we don't want to see empty rows, like it says September 7th and 14th here, we can select hide non-business days with no sales, and that just removes the blank rows like that. Also, if we don't want to view the entire date range, we can set the dates here. If we just want to view October, say, we can set the dates like so, just covering October. And just notice that the goal per business day is still the same as before. It's still dividing 60,000 by the total number of business days in September, October, November. This means that at the bottom it won't get all the way to 60,000. If we start at a day other than the first day in the date range, we have the option to include previous cumulative sales and goals. If we select that, we can see that the numbers change like that. Now they start at higher values. So what's going on is that they're now including the previous cumulative sales and cumulative goal from September. So if we go look at September, September ended with these values for the cumulative sales and goal. So basically it was taking these numbers and adding them into the start at the start of the report in the cumulative sales and goal column. All right, let's go look at October again. We have the option here to include future estimation. So this will just fill in any rows for future days with an estimated value for our sales for that, like so. All right, so now we will look at the date dimension. This is a new feature not possible with the old goal system. So come here, we'll select by date. Select locations, and we'll set month. And now if we look at the goal values, we see that they are set by date. If we increase the date range, we get more values here, and then we'll have a sum total at the bottom like that. Also, we have, when setting goals by month or year, we have the option of not necessarily starting the month or year on the first day. So for instance, if we have goals for fiscal years, say that are starting on October 1st, say like that, we can set that here, and normally without setting this offset, this would mean that like this year would mean January 1st to December 31st of that year. and so on. But now it means October 1st of this year to September 30th of the next year, 2024. This would be October 1st of 2024 to September 30th, 2025, and so on. And there's also an option to repeat a goal value for each day, month, or year in the range. So if we come up here and select repeat, we now just enter one value. We have a total at the bottom that is based on multiplying this number by the length of the date range. So doing this would be the equivalent of this, just same number. That, yeah, so that would be equivalent to that. All right, so let's go ahead and set a 3-month goal from September to October or November. 55K, 60K, 65K, like that. If we look at the main report, we see now that it looks like the report by location, except now these rows are date values rather than location values. Like with locations, we can narrow the range of dates we're looking at if we want to. So we just want October to November like that. And if we reduce to just one, this entire date range row disappears. And we also have the 2 date option as before. If we look at the daily progress report, we can see that it takes the values of 55K, 60K, and 65K and divides each one according to the number of days in their respective months. So starting in September, it takes the September goal, which was 55K, and divides that by the number of days in September, which is 30. And we see that the cumulative goal, which is 55K, right at the end of September there. And then in October, it will increase at a slightly different rate as it takes October's goal, which was 60K, and divides it by the number of days in October, which is 31. And then at the end of October, it gets to 55K plus 60K, which is 115K. And then finally at the end, we have 55 plus 60 plus 65K, which is 180K, like that. And if we look at the old report, it just shows progress compared to the total goal of 180K. The old report doesn't work with a new date dimension, so it just sets the goal to the sum total across the dates. And there's some slightly different options when we set a date goal with the time period type set to day. So we'll go ahead by date, day, select locations, and we'll go ahead and give this a few days here. We can see that days when we are closed are grayed out, though if we want, we could still set a goal for that day if we have any reason to, like that. And since we included multiple locations in this goal, day is considered open as long as at least one of these locations is open during that day. So Sunday is the only day when all 3 locations are closed, and if we remove a location, we can see that the closed days change like that. In addition, there's an option up here to repeat a goal value by every business day rather than every day. So just like that, and say, put it like that. This would be the equivalent of putting in like 100, like just during the open days. And also note that when you set date goals individually like this, there's a limit on how many you can set in a single goal. So if you try to go above 100, it won't let you. But when you set it in this repeat mode, there's no limit on the date range. Now let's go ahead and set a goal for a couple weeks. Start on this Monday and end on this Monday here, Sunday. Like that, and we'll include Rossville and save. Alright, and if we look at the main report, it's slightly different when the time period type is set to day. Months and years have multiple business days, but a single day either is or isn't a business day. So this column and this column just show whether or not it's a business day and whether the goal was met that day. And then we also have the option to hide non-business days with no sales in this mode. And we have future estimation in this column here. And now finally, we can set goals by both location and date. It's like this. These right here. And we'll make this a 3-month goal as before, September to November. Now we have a 2-dimensional array of goals to set. We have the repeat options up here as before, and we could in fact repeat across both location and date, and that would just give us one goal value to input here. In this case, I think I'll set date to repeat and input different values per location. 20K, 25K, and 30K. So now if we look at the main report, we have a 2-dimensional array of goals and their progress, as well as a 2 types of totals for date here and location here, and a grand total in the corner here. And we can see that this goal value was repeated for each month, and this goal value here, that one there. And we have the options for narrowing the selection of locations or dates like that. And if we look at the daily progress report, it'll look basically the same as before, except now we have multiple columns, one for each location, and then all locations column over here. All right, and so the dashboard widgets have been updated to work with the new goal system. So if we go to the dashboard, go here, and add a widget like select progress on goal. Alright, so a single goal will have no options for either date or location. A location goal will have option for selecting a location, and a date goal will have option for selecting date, and then by location and date we'll have options for both location and date. And there's also a new widget that functions like the daily progress report. So if it's like daily progress on goal, we get a widget that basically just has the cumulative sales and cumulative progress columns from the daily progress report. And it has basically the same options as the report here. We can select include future estimation, and maybe make that the same location as same color as the location. And yeah, so now we can look at the daily progress towards this goal, as well as future estimation on our progress. All right, so thanks for watching, and we hope that these updates are useful to you and your store.